timers are probably the best way to stress the player out. Like just that ticking clock, just like knowing something bad's gonna happen when that runs out, that just pushes the player to just panic and try and play as best as they can. And at the moment, my game, it doesn't really have much of an incentive aside from just doing cool stuff like this. Now, in most games that have like timers like this, like Pizza Tower, Anthem Blast, etc., right? They have pretty predictable movement. Like, you press this button, you know what's gonna happen. My game, no two runs are the same. Like, there's so many moving parts and like just little bits that drift about, where just a flat timer, it can be really unfair. So instead of having a big explosion that just kills you, I'm just gonna spawn in a big plane that gives you a tiny, minuscule chance, if you're good, to escape. Dual tracking, exploding miniguns, and 88 missiles that spawn in. That's probably, yeah, that should be enough to scare the player into playing better. Now, before that, I had to really focus on the visuals of the game, because at the moment, it looked buns, it looked dookie. The game was not very nice. So based on this picture, and maybe stealing a little bit from GTA, I made this car. After moving over the stuff from the old car to the new car, I got right back into Blender and made a plane. When I was making the plane, I kind of just thought like, oh, that's cool, we got miniguns, those are pretty neat. 88 freaking missiles that like line the back of it, that's pretty sick. And then a giant sword, that was just like, I don't know why there's a big sword on it, but like, I'll probably do something with it later. Now, when I actually got into Unity to start making the plane, to make the plane circle the player, I made like these 4 objects that go between these 4 points using like an old script from the last video. And then I made, because it's like a nice like clean circle, I made the plane like seamlessly like transition between these objects and like rotate to make it look like it's flying around you. Okay guys, right, I'm gonna be completely honest. I stole this guy's code for the plane, right? Well, at least like this circle thing. But the thing is, right? If he said in his video, things kind of get goofed up, right? When you move it like away from the, yeah, it moves. It gets all like junked up when it's like not around 0, like the actual balls. So when I moved this entire thing, eventually because of how like once you move, it would move in like a square pattern. So instead of like moving this to the player, this moves with all these points, just with the player's thing added on. So now this actually looks a lot better than it did. Like before it looked really weird. Actually hold on, let's do some clip forming here. Yeah, that's cool, that's cool. And then after I made the guns track you, I just made them spawn in like these bullets that explode. Hey guys, I added my plane. It's pretty cool, you know. Alright guys, I added a sound slider. To the game, guys. Pretty cool, right? Now these bullets, they aren't like hit scan, they're like an actual projectile, which gives you just like a sliver of time to get away as they're exploding behind you. After I got the gun working, I made some UI for the charge of the gun. Ignore the P bullet, as well as making the missiles work. Like the gun on the plane, it's a good way to check to make sure you're moving, and the missiles, they check your average speed. So ignore how buns like the level looks at the moment, That was just a testing to make sure the movement's looking right. But let's say this is a real level. Now the player, it's gonna be this little blue thing, right? So the player is going along this little path here, right? This yellow thing. This will be the minigun, like the explosion from the minigun. And this red thing, it's gonna be the path of the missiles. If you're going at any sort of speed, away from your current position, in theory this minigun explosion, it should just go right behind you. So you're just out of reach of it if you're going fast. Now that'll check to make sure if you're moving, because if you just hit a wall for a second, you'll be dead. But the missiles, they work a bit differently. Instead of like tracking your last position like a second ago, it's always tracking like you directly. Which means when you're going along through here and the gun's chasing you, the missiles, they'll be going directly towards you. So instead of just being like a movement check, they're like a speed check. Like they're not like as prominent, but like when they are like around in their big burst, they are a lot more deadly. Now I've pretty much finished the UI for the charge, which basically means you don't have to count each bullet. But because you don't have to count each bullet, that means I can increase the fire rate. So a faster fire rate means more nukes, means you can pull off stuff like this. Now the next thing I added was just like a little layout for a pause menu. It's just called volume and like the restart button, like Happy Wheels. Oh. Then I also added like the groundwork for the abilities cooldown, just like sort of like a general like mock-up of what it's gonna look like. Now the ultimate ability, where you suck in all the enemies like Kirby, it was awful. It was diabolical. Like the enemies, they would fling you about, you would get like just thrown off course. Instead of the old fix, where it just freezes you for a frame, like when you contact it, I found out if I just like add like a tiny bit of more time where it freezes your momentum, it just fixes the ultimate completely. That took me like so long. That took me months of just chipping away at the ultimate, and it just took like quite literally 2 milliseconds to fix all of that. I also fixed the P bullet. The next thing I added, oh boy, oh buddy, this sounds like such a small thing, but it makes the game feel so much better. Now the way the slam works is it completely freezes your momentum, and then when you hit the ground it freezes your momentum again. And in a game where it's all about speed, it's very useful, but also it costs you so much time. I made a small change where if you dash right after slamming, the boost is a tiny bit better, but that is just enough to get away from the plane, like when you slam. Also the slam, it used to work on like a little raycast like underneath the car, which is a little bit inconsistent, so just in case that doesn't work, I also made it like stop your momentum if your car body hits anything at all. After finishing like the mock-up for the abilities and like what they're gonna sort of look like, I made the drunk meter like an actual beer and a mechanical like 3D heart that beats the faster you go and has like different effects for how damaged you are. I kind of want like all the UI to like eventually look like the heart. My friend, he made like a mock-up for like what the jump would look like, and I'm just thinking like, yo, if it's all like 3D effects, like I think that would just kind of make the game look a lot more like cartoony and silly than these like admittedly kind of bad drawings. The last thing I added was like blue particles to the heart when you have over max health, and like this cool ass like slow-mo effect to the nuke, and like blood when you blend people up. That's all I've added so far, guys. I'm gonna make the UI look a bit more like the mechanical heart, and like a little system to check between like people and cars, so there isn't blood when you blend up the cars, and that also allows me to like add effects like fire and bleeding to enemies. I'm also gonna work on like the gore, because at the moment it's a bit lackluster. I also need a new map, because this guy, he was not a fan. He is not a fan of this map I threw together in 2 days. Like with all this work in the game, I didn't really have a way to check if it was balanced or not, so I got Big Polter P to play my game. line it up straight, right? On that ramp.
So like turn around and line it up.
No. Not that way. Just like driving, like facing the wall.
No! Uh-oh.
There's
No! I was literally 2 seconds out!
Did you do a video where you just punched people?
What do you mean? Just punch people?
Yeah.
No, I did not. Well... what's going on right now? Why is there... What the hell is going on right now? I see. No!
Remember that right click's really powerful. But it like takes up a lot of your meters, so you're gonna be like very like careful when you use it.
I don't even see where my vehicle is currently. Is there a spot I should be concerned about like that?
Oh, that's the end of the levels.